You see, like if we activate ourselves, if we activate just our feelings, if we activate just the tingulations of what could turn into an emotion in our acting work, we're not going to be certain that we're going to be able to have the frequency, although we will feel the frequency, we'll feel the emotion of the emotional range as a tingulation as we're doing our emotional preparation or our memory recall or whatever technique that you use. It's your own personal technique to being able to get emotion. But the thing is that you've got to be able to have it at depth. You have the depth of it is what's going to be able to develop that trust as an artist, an actor, to be able to have that reactivated again by receiving, by actually having your acting partner actually draw it out of you. Look, I'm Simon Blake. I've seen over 8,000 acting classes. Yes, I'm acting teaching. I've got emotionalpreparation.com. There's a community there. It's fantastic. And there's a ton of articles and other things. I don't know. There's all this stuff I forget. I have 6 acting books that would help out too. Look, this is a topic that we are not resisting our feelings. We are inviting our feelings. We are inviting our inclinations. We are inviting ourselves to be able to have responses within the emotional range of that actual emotion. Now, emotional preparation has hundreds of emotions, hundreds, and exactly parts of what they actually are and how to be able to work with parts of them, and the ability to be able to find and have resources of other projects that actually have those techniques, that use those emotions. Hopefully. But this is the skill. See, you're building up your ability to be able to be receptive in your emotional preparation, right? Your emotional, whether you're using memory to be able to get the preparation, or if it's just imagination to be able to activate your emotion. And you're at a place where whatever you're able to, the depth of which you're able to work, that's going to be easier for the other actor to access in real time if we can get that activated ourselves within the acting interaction. Now, we know a lot of times, always, there's times where we're struggling to get a certain thing, and there's a certain component that we're getting, and we might activate, there's an example, might activate one emotion of, like, I don't know, despair, regret, or shame, or even anger. And yet, meanwhile, you're really looking for a different emotion. You know that the scene needs a different emotion. You're trying to find the combination of emotions and where that is in yourself. And then we know that when we're still, because we're diligent, because we're doing the work of the work of acting, because we're working hard, we can't expect other people to understand our hard work, but we can understand that we know our own processes, and we hit something, and then during the interaction, we might not have fully figured out exactly what that thing was, but we were kind of swimming around, at our depths, and then through the interaction, there's a whole other thing that comes out. That's fantastic. And that's what's going to happen because we're diligent, we're working hard, and we're swimming around with emotions, and we're not just looking at being able to get feeling. But look, we want to invite and stay open to feelings and inclinations that come in towards us. So when we're in our concentration of emotional preparation, it doesn't matter what you call emotional preparation. I like to call it emotional activation, because you've got to activate the emotion. Most people forget to do that, or they just don't go deep enough. We want to be able to get the reliable technique for ourselves to be able to jump in to the interaction, so we're taking in that specific emotional range. This is the essence of talent. And what's going to happen is all this stuff is unexpected when we're doing the acting interaction. Look, it doesn't matter how many different things that you do to be able to activate something else, when you're swimming around in your depth, is going to activate. You're going to be able to find something as long as you look within yourself, as long as you look within your depth. There's a lot of things. There is, you've got the ability to be able to activate your emotions. Some people will use songs. Some people will listen to songs to be able to start to get into the mood of certain things. But I'll tell you, take it deeper. So add an imaginary element to that initial spark. Receive that spark. Get yourself alive. Get yourself ripped in terms of the ability of that emotional range and that frequency. We're going to go through a lot of different things here, and we are going to really figure out and absolutely know for certain that we are within that emotional range when we're actually working. This certainty means that we actually can build up trust really, really quickly when we're working on projects. A lot of times we'll be able to have rehearsal times with people before we're doing films, or even when we're on set, we're able to do some takes before. And because we're able to go into this stuff and have this, we're not stuck with our emotion. We're flexible with our emotion, but we have technique that we've worked on so that we know that we're not just working at a superficial level. Look, spontaneity is fantastic, but spontaneity is going to happen even if we have depth. As long as we're open, as long as we're receptible and receivable, we're receiving the other actor. There's this receptibility that happens with this synergy, and we're able to just nurture that so that we're able to find the nuances and the ebbs and flows of the actual acting scene. There's so many different times where actors will lessen their ability to find their talent and their depth. Don't be one of those actors, although don't be afraid of being one of those actors if that's part of your learning curve. So you're in a learning curve to be able to figure out how to be able to get through and into the emotional range. Now, I want to say something about this. Emotions are not something that definitely means that you're crying or outwardly showing the effect of the emotion before you're starting. Now, this gets into some arguments back in the day with some of the acting styles. Now, look, you have to understand something. I respect all the different acting styles. I think it's fantastic. I find an interest in all of it. I think the whole human development of people and all this is fascinating. I'm a bit of a geek that way, and that's cool. And the thing is that this is good to be able to understand that if you're feeling things, that's the good thing, and you're inviting that. But don't expect yourself to be shaking and tremulous and trembling or tremulous. I think that's the word. You tremble, every single time that you're working on an acting scene where it says that you're nervous. The nerves will come out in different ways. So what we're working on is the ability to build trust within ourselves. And that trust is when we have that trust within ourselves, the other actors will then have confidence within us. And there'll be this trust where they know, like, look, you might not fully go in with this specific emotion. I mean, it could be anything. It could be, oh my God, it could be incredulousness. It could be indebted, unresolved, irreplaceable, rational. And it might be a rationality that works for one thing, but it doesn't quite work for another. This is where we're going to trust that ourselves, that when the other actor trusts that we're brought something into the scene, then what they're going to do is that they're going to be able to, with the subtlety of just their eyes, literally, the camera is going to capture this. They will have a subtleness, and all they have to do is receive you and work off of you. And then there's going to be this ricochet thing that happens back for you. Because you've gone into something that's worked to be able to activate you. You don't need to show up trembling at the door. You don't have to show up trembling. The biggest thing, people think that we're talking about emotion and we're talking about the ability to be able to get emotion. So then people think that we have to show up and have the intensity of trembling and or loud or the physical effects of. Your job here is to be able to bring in the emotion. There's got to be something specific within you and your behavior, and your emotion is going to be sometimes really unseen for a little bit of the scene. And then when it works like this, it's going to be able to work in a way where it works into the scene through the interaction. Now, trusting that you don't have to be overtly um, activated is going to be able to allow a lot of other things to happen, including your ability to take in the other scene partner. So when we're talking about getting emotion, I'm talking about, yes, getting the emotion, working from a depth level. But the emotion is this thing that will carry within you. You'll likely feel it beneath your rib cage. That's usually where it happens. Sometimes it happens in the top like 3 or 4 rib cages. For me, that's basically where it is, and it's below. And then when I hit that level, I know I've hit something that I know that there's something that if the actor if we just follow the lines, who cares? We'll follow the lines. If people want us to follow the lines, or we'll improv if people want us to improv. But we'll just go into it and we'll follow the lines. I know I've done something to myself emotionally that might even be subtle, but I know it has depth. And that depth is going to take it to a place where the scene is going to have this essence to it, where there's going to be this emotional imprint, and there's going to be this almost like it's going to be dramatic, but it doesn't necessarily be in a dramatic way. So look at this and understand this, and keep asking me questions on different things. There's a lot to cover. There's a lot of different topics, and that's very, 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 very good. I would say that when I'm working with emotions myself, that I can feel the sense of when I'm getting past my thoughts. Now, the first place I always work from is I work to get past others people's thoughts. So this is true in every single acting scene that I work on. So I will work specifically to make sure that I'm working beyond other people's thoughts, and then I'm only in my own head, and then I work past being in my own head, and then I get into my inclinations, and then I get into my tingulations and then I work with that a little bit, and then I get into my feeling. And then my feelings might work, and I flex a little bit with the feelings, and I can feel things warmed up, and I feel a little bit more responsive. And then I work, and deeper feeling comes in. And then I keep working. And what I'll do is okay, fine. I've got a circumstance that I've thought of, or I've got an imaginary thing that I've put myself in, and then I imagine another element. And then all of a sudden, it just slides in a little deeper. And then I imagine another element. Another element comes in. Okay. And then I let that go. And then I let that go. And then I see, well, is this the range that I want to be in? Does this match what it would be for somebody else? If somebody else was feeling this, would this be the type of range am I in the right area of this? Okay, well, I know I've hit something. So I know if I've hit something, I think that's the area. So I'll just trust that I know, but I know I'm working at a level that I know that the other person can then uncover it. And this is the old saying that you're uncovered as an actor like an onion. You allow the other actor to unpeel you. This is your job. This is your profession. Your profession is to be able to put yourself into the emotional turmoil where the other actor can then, through interaction, unpeel you like an onion. And this is very helpful for you to be able to understand this. And look, it's important to understand and watch and learn and keep learning. I can't even tell you. I've got 8,000 classes. There is lessons that I have learned so many times. And it's not because it's because it's helped the information, and it's helped my building my own confidence within my own acting technique. And I'll go through and I'll be like, okay, well, do I understand that angle of something? Do I understand this angle of something? Do I understand the other angle of something? And then that will develop me to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And then when I work, all I have to do is release. And once I release, I still release it. I let it go. And then I work to receive the other actor. And then all of a sudden, whatever's going to happen is going to happen because I've done the work before the scene. And I know that I can just completely trust it. Now, if we all work like this, if we're all working like this, it's going to change some stuff in the industry because there's still fighting here and there or arguments within different stuff, within different acting techniques. Forget about it. Let the other actor work on whatever technique they want. Work with your own acting technique. If there's 2 actors in the scene, they're both going to have 2 different acting techniques. This is just going to be a given. And what you're going to be able to achieve with this is going to be a level of depth and a level of authenticity and a level of being yourself in a way that you're going to allow the other actor to literally unveil your authenticity, which means that you're unveiling the other actor as allowed to reveal your authentic self. And this is going to be an interaction that will likely surprise even you. And then you'll be grateful that you've worked with the other actor, because the other actor's done a service to your humanity as you've done a service to their humanity. And this is also true if you're dealing with even intense things like rage or let's say a part on alcoholism or whatever. There's so many different options that you could do. So, or despair or regrets or shame. Shame is a huge, huge topic. Look, any of these things are going to be able to allow the other actor to reveal you and reveal you and reveal you more and more and more. And when the other actor is able to unpeel you as an onion and you're able to unpeel them as an onion, you have what I call an acting vacuum within the acting scene. So let's get to work, absorb these videos, work with this, understand it's a different message in a different way every single time, to be able to figure out how to be able so that you can figure out what adjustments do you need to be able to access what it is that's inside of you. And are you able to find it, get it, and be able to allow it yourself to be free with it? So when you find it, you're not hiding it, you're not defending your emotion. That's a whole big thing. People do that all the time. They defend the emotion. They feel vulnerable and then they defend. Don't need to do that. Completely let your emotion be. Let yourself work in the ability to let the other actor start to work at it and take off the layers off of you. And you're going to be completely okay. This is the trust of, honestly, it's the trust of life. You're going to have to be able to trust that there's a give and a take when you're paying attention and you're listening and when you're receiving. All right. Thanks very much. Check out my books, if you will, or at least the website, and become part of the community. All right. Thanks.